children of all ages, your least favorite Steelers video content creators are back. Welcome to Steelers training camp era. It is August 4th, 2024. I am back from my off-season hibernation. Joining me as per usual on Five Star Radio is the lovely Gage Ryan Video. What's up, Gage?
Oh, just the same. I'm excited. I'm excited, man. I'm excited for this season. I'm excited to make content. I'm excited to stream. Am I excited to watch Russell Wilson and Justin Fields do what they call playing quarterback? I don't know how excited I am for that. But everything else, I'm excited. Hi, everybody.
Yeah, I've been saying for some time that it's now, this is the sixth season that we're doing five star matchup, which hell yeah, that's awesome. I never have done anything like this for longer than, you know, a year or two or anything like this. So it's really cool what we've been building now over the years and super proud of it.
Five
But
star matchup has officially lasted longer than the Confederacy.
oh, yes, there you go. Um, but yeah, it's something that I've realized though is that every year that I've done this, except for the first year, I've gone into it more uncertain about the Steelers than I did in the 15 years previous. Like, I think we've just entered this era where it's funny because we keep saying the same thing happens every year. They go 9-8 and they sneak into the playoffs and whatever. But at the same time, like every training camp, I'm like, I don't know. It could be good, could be bad, and I really don't know. And I don't think I realized until recently how spoiled we were with Roethlisberger, where it was like every year you're like, yeah, we'll be in the playoffs and we'll have a chance, and um, we've just entered this era of just like, what is this? You know?
I don't know, man. I don't know if I've ever been, not to be a buzzkill. I don't know if I've ever been less excited going into a season.
You just
I
said
was
I'm
even excited.
excited 2 seconds ago.
I am, but this is like the least amount.
Yeah.
I'm excited to make content more than I
Right,
am
right,
to
right.
watch the Steelers.
Hmm.
Yeah, man, it's a case where we're gonna be okay. We're gonna win a couple games. We're gonna lose a couple games. We're gonna win a couple games we shouldn't, maybe, and we're gonna lose a couple games we should win. And I think that there's just something that the Roonies really enjoy about wondering all year whether we're good, whether we're bad, and then only to find out it's kind of neither.
Yeah, true. Um, yeah, it's weird. And speaking of disappointments, as you can see, I'm coming to you live from training camp. You can see I'm seated right
Yep.
next to the
Yep.
field. I got my whole setup. Gage knows what a trial this was to get my desktop set up at Latrobe and find some Wi-Fi. But yes, I'm broadcasting live from a little Catholic
St.
college
Vincent?
in the middle of nowhere, whatever the hell that is. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, St. Vincent, I think.
yes. No, actually, but my point is, speaking of disappointment, I was supposed to go to training camp yesterday for the first time. I've never been before. Um, and on Friday, Delta canceled my flight 6 hours before I was supposed to go. Um, so my sister's on the hook for 2 nights of a hotel room that we couldn't cancel. I'm on the hook for 2 days of a car rental that we couldn't cancel. Uh, you know, thanks
That's
Delta.
brutal.
Yeah, real
I mean,
real
then
waste of
again, I
time.
mean, I don't know what you're expecting when it comes to Delta Airlines. I mean, if you expect everything to go according to plan when you book with Delta, then
Yeah,
it's like
no,
expecting everything to go according to plan with the Steelers.
no, I just expected to like, board a plane. Like literally like 3 hours before I
The
was going to
bare
like
minimum.
leave my house. I mean, they were like literally like, "Oh, we rescheduled till tomorrow." And it's like, for everybody that knows, like I'm in New York. So like for me it's like Pittsburgh is like a 6.5 hour drive, so it's really, it's a long haul to do like on one weekend driving. So I was like, all right, we'll fly. Got some cheap flights. It's like a 90-minute flight. It's so much better than a 6.5 hour drive.
Yeah, it's
But
a
we
hell
were
of
gonna go. We were going like late Friday and then coming back. I would have been back like around now. So it was like literally like less than 48 hours. And they were like, "Oh yeah, we rescheduled to Saturday at 4 p.m." And I was like, "Well, that doesn't work for me, Chief." I felt like Hulk Hogan. That doesn't work for me, boss.
that's the
Um,
first thing I thought of.
yeah. Um so yeah, so my training camp dreams were dashed, but you know, we still have we still have, you know, opinions, thoughts, all those kind of things even though I didn't see things firsthand. Um I'm curious
Yeah,
like yeah, go ahead.
I've been to I've been to training camp a couple of times, right? And I mean, it's kind of what you would expect it to be. You know, you see Steelers, you see the players playing, the coaches coaching, you see Jeff Fried in the stands yelling at people. It's a lot of fun. But no, just a what was your question?
I
What was the
didn't
question
have
you're
a
gonna ask?
question. No, tell me about training camp. Did you like? Is it? I wasn't really sure what to expect. I didn't know if it would be like. I wasn't like super hyped about it, but my sister really wanted to go, so I was like, all right, let's go. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's football practice, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, have you ever watched a football team practice? That's about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Although whenever they come running down, from like the top to the bottom where the field is, everybody will line up there and they'll stop and sign things. You know how all that stuff goes. So I mean, it's a good time, and I mean, like the fact that I don't. Is there a fee to get into training camp? I can't
No,
remember
it's
anymore because I think when I went it was free.
It's free, yeah. I think they charge like
Yeah.
$10 or something or $20 for the Friday Night Lights practice, but the rest of it is
Oh
free.
yeah,
But
yeah.
you have to book it like ahead of time because I looked to see if I could
Mm.
book for like today instead, and I couldn't get tickets. So because I got them like on a pre-sale because I was on like the season ticket wait list or something like that. Um, but yeah, they're
I gotta give you
free.
credit, pal. I gotta give you credit, pal. You are what 6.5, 7 hours away by car, and you make far more of an effort to see this team than I do when I'm about 30 minutes from it. So I
Yeah,
can't argue.
Yeah, well, I haven't. I used to go a lot more. I haven't gone since I think the last time I went was um the home opener. I think it was
Oh,
in
against the Bills.
2021. No, against the Raiders. That one where Ben got jacked up. It was like 2021. I think Ben's last year.
Oh, home opener.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. The home opener. Yep. Yeah, that was I think the last time I went. So I haven't been in a couple years because these last couple years of the Kenny Pickett era, I very much felt like any given week it could be a total disaster, or it could be like a squeaker win, and so I just never it's a long haul. Football is so like 50-50, where it's like you go and they lose and it just sucks, man. You put a whole you spend $1,000 or something to travel, buy tickets, all that kind of shit. You go and they lose and it just sucks, and so I haven't been going as much. I want to get back out to the stadium this year. But yeah, I got to get back to it.
We gotta do some IRL content. That sounds like a good time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was hoping to meet Russell Wilson yesterday, Mr. Unlimited, and shake hands with him and, whatever.
That would
But
be so. You gotta post that picture
I was
like
gonna have him
everywhere when it
stream. I was gonna
happens.
have him next to me on the stream. Like I thought it was gonna be an epic, collaboration, but not in the cards. Anyway, as much as people, I'm sure everybody that clicked in saw the thumbnail, saw the title of this video. Obviously, like the number one thing on everybody's mind is the quarterback situation, like it always is. For those who have been sleeping for the last 6 months, Kenny Pickett is now in Philadelphia, backup quarterback for life. But he gets to stay close to home, so good for him. I know he was probably homesick being 6 hours away from home. Um, and yeah, he's gonna back up Jalen Hurts forever, and we are now going into the season with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields as our quarterback room. Um,
And I
you
guess between the three of them, I think you'd rather have Russell Wilson. I guess because at least he's shown between the three of them that he can run a competent offense.
He's a Super Bowl winner and a Walter Payton Man of the Year.
He's
So
technically a Super Bowl winner.
I mean, I'm not going to take that away from him. He won a Super Bowl. If Ben Roethlisberger gets credit for winning a Super Bowl in his second year doing
That's
nothing,
true.
then
That's true.
Russell Wilson gets credit for winning a Super Bowl because, he did do it and he got him there the next year.
This is what I had said about Russ when that game happened. Is people kind of dogged on him, and it was like, well, 16 completions, 200 yards, not really Super Bowl quarterback stats. And I think that everybody just kind of agreed. You'd probably agree that's like, well, he didn't fuck up. You know what I mean?
I don't
Like
care if you throw for
Peyton,
15 yards. If you win the Super Bowl, that's all that matters.
yeah, like if you go 9 for 22 passing, if you win the Super Bowl, then I mean,
Yeah, exactly. No, it's
that's a Ben joke.
yeah. I'm never knocking him for winning, but I mean, I guess just like now that we've sat on it for a few months and training camp has started and stuff like that, I'm curious, people watching and like you especially like how do we feel about this? Because I just can't wrap my head around it. Like, still, every time I see Russell Wilson in a Steelers jersey or in a Steelers post, like on Instagram or whatever, I still just find it so fucking weird. Like, it's just so weird to me, and I can't get over it. Um,
It's such a
everybody knows I've had a
stopgap. It feels like
yeah,
a stopgap.
it does, right? Everybody knows I've had a feud with Russell Wilson, a one-sided feud, not nearing my Kirk Cousins feud, but somewhere up there. Enough that
Wait,
like,
wait, wait. This is news to me. This is news to me. I know how much you hate Russell Wilson. What's the beef with Kirk Cousins?
oh, I just really hate him. I just think he sucks. I just think I just think he's so corny, and I just dislike him. I don't. I think my problem with Kirk Cousins, and this is why I don't hate Russell Wilson, because I respect Russell Wilson the player. Like, I know that he's a gamer, and I know that he's done a lot of amazing stuff on the football field, so I can't knock that. Kirk
But
Cousins,
not
though,
Kirk.
no, he puts up stats. He's never done anything when it mattered ever. Ever in his whole career, ever. And if he's on prime time and there's 2 minutes to go and he needs a drive, he's never, ever, ever done it. Ever. He's the biggest. I respect him though, because he is like the all time bag getter. That dude has made so much
Yeah.
money without. Has he ever even won a playoff game? I don't think so. Maybe one, two. I don't remember.
Good. I gotta Google that.
I
I
don't
gotta
know. Did
Google
he
that.
like with the Vikings? Did he win a playoff game or two? Probably, right? I don't know. I
Kirk
can't really.
Cousins has a 1-4 career playoff record.
Yeah, I think he won one with the Vikings. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and it was the missed field goal. So actually, they were like a
right,
bullshit fluke missed field goal away from losing that game too, because they
right.
only put up
So
like 10 points.
so he's never done anything. So forget him. Um, but yeah, I mean, so the Russell Wilson thing, like, what do we think about this? Do we think it's an upgrade? Do we think it's a downgrade? Like the quarterback room as a whole, is this an upgrade? Is this a downgrade? Is this staying the same? Higher ceiling, higher floor? Like, where are you at with this?
Well, it's funny. So if we're talking about the quarterback room specifically, going from Kenny Pickett to Russell Wilson is, well, it's not a drastic upgrade, but it's a significant upgrade, if you catch my drift. But the funny thing is the backup quarterback position, going from Mason Rudolph to Justin Fields, is a huge downgrade, in my opinion. So it's just
Interesting.
funny how they did that to me. They went, listen, man, you will see in time. Bookmark this, mark it, do whatever you want, clip this, do whatever you want. Justin Fields will not succeed here. He is terrible. It'll
Okay.
take like 3 games or so, and I'm going to see of him playing, and people are going to come back and be like, "Wow, he can't hit the broadside of a barn." I'm like, "Yes, he can't."
Do you think
So I
uh
don't know where that puts us.
okay, do you I mean so yeah, I mean but do you think considering how things broke, do you think that it was a bad acquisition? I mean, I think for what they paid for him, I think
Yes.
it made sense. I don't know.
Well, I mean, sure. Like if you pay next to nothing for something, then I mean, sure. It's you can't really. It's not like we went out and broke the bank for him. I'd have been heated if that were the case, but they didn't.
Yeah.
And they got Russell Wilson for what, like $1 million, like the vet minimum, something like that.
Yeah, yeah, he's making
Excuse me.
absolutely nothing. So yeah, I mean that's that made sense to me, I guess. Do you
The
think
con
okay,
artist does it again.
let me ask you this question. If say that they signed Russell Wilson just like they did and Kenny Pickett didn't throw a fit and he stayed on the team. What do you think's happening? Do you think that Kenny Pickett would
Oh
have still
God.
been the starter, or do you think Russell Wilson still would have been the starter and Kenny Pickett would have just fallen in line as a backup quarterback? What do you think?
I'll answer your question. I'm not going to like deflect this. I'm just saying, first of all, that would never happen because Kenny would just keep. He would have thrown a fit like he did whenever he first heard about the
Right.
signing. It never would have. It never would have materialized. But if it would have happened, I think Russ would have started out as the starter and given Kenny time to sit on the bench. And if Kenny had a better attitude, I think that he could have learned from Russ and maybe fixed some of the holes in his game. But we saw that that's not the kind of attitude. I think that Kenny had a bit of Carson Wentz syndrome, if you will. He's like, no, I'm the savior, despite never actually accomplishing anything. I mean, Kenny Pickett never had anything close to Carson Wentz's 2017 season, where he lit
No.
like every efficiency record on
He never had
fire.
anything close to Carson Wentz's season with Washington or the Colts. I mean, he never did
Yeah,
anything. I
yeah,
mean, the guy threw 13 touchdown passes in 2 years. Are you fucking kidding me?
yeah. And I mean, we would make jokes about it, but it is true that like Kenny, he can do this, he can do that, he can do this, he can do that. He just can't get the ball in the end zone, and you kind of need to do that in order to win as a quarterback. It was very strange. Like,
Yeah.
could he lead long sustaining drives? Yes. Could he like throw deep shots occasionally? Yes. Did he know how to run an offense? Maybe not Matt Canada's, because what the hell was that? But
Um, Hopefully Gage should rejoin in a moment. There he is. Dropped off for a
can you
second
hear me
there, but
okay?
yeah. You're all good. You just froze out for a
Okay.
second. Yeah, no, Pickett. I mean, just clearly not it. I mean, I think I do agree that like losing Mason Rudolph was a bummer, but I think he probably, as I said last year at the end of the year, like why would he want to come back? I
No, I
mean,
don't blame him.
because they could have just offered him, $8 million or something and said, you know what, you're gonna be the bridge guy. Because really, fundamentally, like, what would have really been the difference? Like, you know, it seemed like guys were having fun playing with him last year, and to me, what he
They
did
went to
wasn't.
bat for him.
Yeah, he wasn't really fluky. I thought he was lighting it up. Um, but maybe it just felt that way because Pickett was so brutal before that even competent play felt so different. But I'm trying to be
So
excited. I'm trying to be excited.
what did we think about the playoff game? Not to, I know you just said we're excited. Here I am dwelling on the playoff loss, but I really do wonder what everyone's thoughts. If anybody feels like contributing in the chat, was it the defense that just fell apart? Was it Matt Canada's offense being dog shit? Was it Mason Rudolph crumbling under the lights? Because remember, it was 21-0 before we even knew it hit us. So, what do we think about that loss? Because I know you and I don't really dissect the playoff games, especially because we just go one and done, get blown out.
Yeah, we haven't had one that was worth. The only one I ever covered since I've been here was the Browns one, and nobody wanted to watch it. Um, yeah, I mean, to me, they got within a touchdown of that in that game, did they not? I mean, I think it was. I'm trying to remember. I think they got it to like
It might have been.
they got it to 24-17 after a long touchdown drive.
I
Yeah,
wonder.
yeah, they did. They did. They got it
Everybody
to.
forgets.
Yeah, but then they
Oh,
gave up a 7-play, 70-yard touchdown drive immediately after. And that's always been the Steelers. That's always been what their problem is
all
in.
the time.
Yeah, even in that Browns game that I mentioned in 2020, they just like the Jaguars game. All of these playoff games have been exactly the same, where they fall behind to a big hole, and then they make a comeback, and they just can't do enough to keep the other team off the board. I mean, at least in this case, it was Josh Allen, so like I can forgive that. But in the past years when it was, Baker Mayfield and the Browns or Blake Bortles and the Jaguars, like it's a little more
Tim Tebow.
yeah, it's a little more unforgivable for sure. But the
So this is 15 years ago. This is 15 years ago. So this is a little dated, but I do want to know your thoughts. Does it not feel 2011 was the year we lost to Tim Tebow. 2010 was the last year that we were in the Super Bowl where we got carved up by Aaron Rodgers and his overinflated footballs. People always
mhm.
forget about that too. No, but I'm kidding. But I'm curious, did that Tim Tebow game, looking back on it, feel like a big like changing of the guard? Did that really feel like we're no longer a juggernaut now?
No, I don't think so because the whole Killer B era happened after that. And like we had a shot with those teams. Like people
Fair
do
enough.
talk they like to quote that 3 playoff wins in 10 years or whatever. But, you forget that the team kind of did rebuild in 12 and 13, but then 14, 15, 16, even 17, including the regular season, they got better every year. Like 14, they
Mm.
were a plucky team who won some games. 15, they got to the playoffs and had a shot. 16, they won 2 playoff games, got to the AFC Championship game, were obviously outmatched by the Patriots. And then 17, they were dominant in the regular season, lost their defensive, everything, and just collapsed. But I don't think that would be the moment that I would say that. I would say that
The
really,
Brownies.
no, just Ben getting hurt. It's never been the same. That's really the reality of it. I think Ben was that good of a player, and I think he was that impactful. Um, that it just it's never been the same, and they haven't been able to figure out. Now it's only been, I think this will be the third season post Roethlisberger, and they just haven't been able to figure it out. And I think what bothers me about the Russell Wilson Justin Fields thing is that it does feel ultimately like kicking the can down the road again, where it was like, okay, Ben's gone, we're going to go out and sign Mitchell Trubisky first day of whatever, and he's going to be the starter, and then we're going to draft Kenny Pickett and he's going to be the future. And like, doesn't it kind of feel like we're almost in the exact same situation now, just with two different guys? And like, maybe they're different, maybe they're better. Like Russell Wilson is definitely better than Mitchell Trubisky, and Justin Fields debatably might be better than Kenny Pickett. Probably. I mean, he has a higher ceiling at least. Um, but
Oh, sure, that's true.
yeah, but what is it? Like what do we have there? Like what, they're both signed for 1 year. It's like a tryout year. What are we building?
If we're talking about like players specifically, his like absolute ceiling, the highest that Justin Fields would ever get as a player, in my opinion, would be Cordell Stewart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very good runner, occasionally can deliver a good deep ball and whatnot, but you always got to worry about him throwing boneheaded interceptions. But he's got quick feet to the point where it kind of covers up a lot of those mistakes. I don't know. Feels like a proper pro comp to me.
Yeah, I mean, at least that's an exciting prospect to me. I don't,
Mhm.
I can't fault them for that move with the way things fell. Like once that happened, I was like, all right, they're gonna, like, they're probably gonna make a trade for Fields, because I went through the whole team and the whole league, and I was like, who else would go for him? And when you got right down to
It
it, I was
happened
like,
on this show.
Is that right?" Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I guess that last stream we did, that was before we got Fields, but after we got Russ. Is that, yeah, I can't remember the
No, I think that we were literally like on stream when we signed Justin Fields,
Oh,
and I just
okay.
remember like, oh yeah, Russell Wilson or Justin Fields just been signed, and I was just like, God damn it,
Okay. Yeah.
like, we all saw it coming. We
No,
all
I mean
saw
it
it
just
coming,
made sense. And they paid nothing to get him, so like I don't mind
yeah,
that. It's just I don't know, it's going to be interesting to see if they use him, and what impact it has on the offense. But I don't know. I look at this offense, and man, I really have trouble being excited about it. I mean, I think they should be better because of the quarterback position, and hopefully the offensive coordinator are both improved. But like, I just like, I don't know. After watching
so
Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell and Juju and even James
yeah.
Conner, like, I look at this team and I'm like, man, like, am I really getting excited to watch Van Jefferson catch 55 passes and hope Pat Fryermuth doesn't get hurt again? And I don't know. I'm trying not to be a bummer. I don't know. The offense does not excite me.
Let me very quickly pile on top of that. How much do you know about Arthur Smith's offense?
I mean, I know what the average person knows. I saw them in Tennessee, with Tannehill, and I know he had a lot of success kind of reviving his career. But I also know that everybody seems to report, oh, he uses the tight end so much. He uses the tight end so much. But all I heard the last few years was that what's his name in Atlanta wasn't getting the ball ever, and he was so dynamic and all this stuff. So like, is he really good at using his players? I don't know. Atlanta never impressed me.
He always uses his tight ends a lot and very efficiently. It's just the backup tight end.
Oh, okay, yes,
That's like the
yeah.
big joke.
Johnu
That,
Smith
that
type
um
shit.
exactly, like Michael Pruitt is about to go off
Yeah,
this year, like that kind of
yeah.
thing. And I get it because it's a lot of they use a lot of 12 person. I'm going to be stealing a lot of this info from bootleg football. So yeah, I don't know.
That's okay.
But yeah,
Steelers
they
Depot
use a lot of
steals
12.
everything from the Athletic, so we can steal from whatever.
That's okay. They're the best podcast on YouTube. But with bootleg, what is it? They say that they have a lot of like 12 personnel and a lot of like two tight end sets and a lot of like they like to spread people out using heavier personnel packages, which I find to be a funky little combination. And I know that they use outside zone. Arthur Smith uses outside zone more than anybody in the league, even like 10% more than second place. So it's like, get ready for a lot of outside zone because that's what we're going to do. And from what I heard, it's outside zone and screens. Lots and lots and lots of screens. So
Interesting. Well,
if you
I
like
mean,
seeing,
yeah.
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I mean they have good running backs. Like I have no question about that. I don't know that anybody, I don't know that there's a better tandem of running backs in the league with the way Najee and Jalen
Yeah.
Warren um the way Jalen Warren and Najee work together, I don't know that there's a better pair in the league. So like I'm excited about what they can do, especially Jalen Warren, who last year I know we all just thought was absolutely phenomenal. Um, but you know, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Like they've invested heavily in the offensive line, and that's a good thing. I think that that should definitely be improved. I thought the offensive line, you know, was pretty good last year. Obviously, the center position was not good as Mason Cole really took a huge step back last year, but they should be better. Hopefully, the kid works out at center. Hopefully, tackle position works itself out. Um, I don't know. They got a chance. I look at the league and I think you need dynamic quarterback play to win, and I'm not entirely sure that I would say I'm convinced the Steelers have, that player there. I don't know. If Russell Wilson could be Russell Wilson, that'd be great, but I don't know that his mobility and all that kind of stuff is the same as it was in his prime, so I worry about him being able to do that.
My dude Brett Coleman had a great analogy about the Steelers and the way we've played football the last few years, where it's just the ugliest, most painful to watch football. He used the analogy of don't ever get into a wrestling match with like a pig in the mud, that old like
Yeah.
figure of speech because they're comfortable in the mud. It seems like people just go in and play against us, even if they beat us. They fumble more than they should. They throw boneheaded interceptions more than they should. They commit more penalties than they should. Like we're just really good at making everybody play the same dog shit style of football that we do, and I can't tell if it's the funniest thing ever or the saddest thing ever.
No, it is. I mean, it
I
is.
don't know.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is. I'll never knock that. Like this current era of Steelers, like they're definitely gamers. Like I'm not gonna knock that. Like I got a
In the
lot.
worst way
They
possible.
they are. They will grind and they will eke out wins and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, I look at like again, I mean, I hate to be like the rose-colored glasses guy, but everybody complained about how bad the defense
What we
was
do.
during the Killer Bees era and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know, I look at the way that the league is right now and I say like, okay, would I rather have, let me think of like a pretty good quarterback, not like the best quarterback. Like what like who's like a you know,
Trevor Lawrence.
yeah. Would you rather have Trevor Lawrence, Justin Jefferson, and a shitty rest of your team, or like an overall pretty good team? I don't know. These days, I'm kind of thinking I'm going with the star power because you
Isn't that
watch
crazy?
highlights and you watch what happens and you say like, I kind of want the guy who can score 14 touchdowns, you know? And I just
It's
don't
funny
know
that
that I
that's
don't know
what
that the Steelers have that.
it's funny that that's what the game boils down to a lot of times is talent. Now, talent is it's funny that Mike Tomlin has always relied so heavily on talent, and I'm not even like disparaging the man. That's just a fact. Um, whereas now he almost takes the opposite approach, where he's continuously trying to make everybody else play bad ball while everyone else is more talented than his team is. It's done this
Right.
weird 180 in the last couple of years. And like again, there's part of me that enjoys it because just seeing like, oh hey, T.J. Watt just got a fumble return touchdown, and now
Yeah.
we're winning this game that we have no business winning.
Yeah.
It's so fun to watch, but
Yes.
like because you always know that there's a chance,
Yeah.
right? And you know that there's a team that like goes in there and has the talented core or whatever, but all of a sudden that talented core like there's an interception. Well, now we're going to hold on to the ball for another 5 minutes, you know, and like well now you're down 3-0. Okay, well that's a punt and now we scored a well now you're down 10. Like you know, it just these it's a snowball kind of a team. You can't
Right.
get boat raced with a team like this, but I love that we're a snowball slow burning torture
Right.
fest. It's
I
very
think
fun.
I think it says a lot about the Kenny Pickett era that I think probably the most defining moments of his career were a last second win where they scored 13 points total against Derek Carr and the Raiders, who were terrible. Um, a last second win against Tyler Huntley and the Ravens in a game they probably didn't need. I don't remember the situation. And an almost win but still loss against Zach Wilson and the Jets in his first game. Like doesn't that doesn't that say everything about the Kenny Pickett era? Like when I think back on it, I think that Raiders game, I think that Ravens game, those back-to-back games in 2022, and that freaking Jets game where he came in and it was so exciting and you're like, wow, the future is now. And then you remember it and you're like, they lost to Zach Wilson.
The future was not now. It's like that the narrator. The future was not, in fact, now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it felt like the beginning of something. But honestly, like, I just want to make a quick side note. The fact that Zach Wilson has repeatedly carved up our defense should be enough for Mike Tomlin to be disqualified from the Hall of Fame by itself. But second of all, it did feel like this big like changing of the guard. I mean, I didn't really fault Kenny for our defense crumbling and giving up 2 touchdowns in the last 2 drives to Zach bleeding Jesus Wilson. You know, it was what it was. But like, man, you thought if he could just fix those couple goddamn mistakes. But then again, like what do a lot of these scouts say? What do a lot of these football guys say? That progression is not linear.
Right.
Sometimes you can take these massive steps forward or backward for that matter. Sometimes it can be a slow burning, and then all of a sudden they take that one big leap where they figure things out. You saw that with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson has actually turned into a pretty solid passer. He had like one of the best QB accuracy, like fitting the ball into tight
Yeah.
windows. He was one of the best quarterbacks in the league last year at doing that. So I have dogged on him for years for
I'm
not
glad
being
to
able to
hear
throw the
you.
ball
Yeah, I'm glad
worth
to
the
hear you
hell.
finally coming around. It's undeniable. He's a great player.
He still falls apart sometimes, but he has shown that he is a little more than what he previously was for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, yeah, man, I don't know. We'll see with this Wilson thing. Obviously, like Wilson
Yeah.
has been
Yeah.
hampered by did you hear, by the way, this was in our Discord server, which, by the way, if you're a fan of the show, go to patreon.com/5smu and join up there and you get an invite to our exclusive Discord server, which is awesome, and this year has been lively even throughout the off season. We talk about everything,
Yeah.
not just the Steelers. It's pretty dope. I'm super proud of the Discord server. So join up if you can. Um, but what was I gonna say? Um, talking
Well, we were
about.
just self-plugging. That's about it.
Oh yeah, I was gonna make a. I was gonna make a point. I was gonna do such a smooth transition, but see, this is the thing. We're in training camp too, folks. Like this is us just like
Yeah.
working out, getting back into the flow of like talking into the microphone and all that kind of stuff. The Wilson thing. Oh
You
yeah,
use our
so he's. Yeah, we
oh,
were talking about this. Did you hear how he got hurt? By the way.
I didn't even know he got hurt.
Yeah, he hasn't practiced in full because he's got a calf injury. Do you know how he got hurt? Their new strength
How?
and conditioning coach has everybody, including quarterbacks, pushing sleds as part of their fitness test. Why is a
Okay.
35-year-old quarterback pushing a blocking sled? Come on.
As someone that's a big MMA fan, I'm just as big of an MMA fan as I am football fan. I've heard some wonky, crazy training styles that work, so I don't even blink at that. That's nothing.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine if Ben was still on the team and they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna have you push a blocking sled at 39 or 40 or whatever."
Well, honestly, I don't know about 39 or 40, but I think like Ben, up until his injury, probably would have done it too. And like I think the pictures of it would have been
Those
hilarious.
last couple of years, he had nothing left in the lower
That,
body.
yeah, that's what
If
I
it
mean.
wasn't for the knees, that's
Yeah,
everybody thinks about the elbow. It was the knees with Ben. It was the lower body. I think he still could play if his knees weren't so messed up. He couldn't move at all.
I agree and I don't agree. The knees were the main problem. I'd agree, but we saw, especially in those last, we'll say 7, 8 games of Ben's career, where he'd be throwing it and you'd see him start doing this after plays. He'd start
Because
flicking his arm.
because it's all arm. Where does your power come from
Yeah,
with a quarterback and a
that's
pitcher and all that? It comes from your lower body. That's what
that's a
I
good
saw with
point.
him. His mechanics got worse because and everybody would say, "Oh, well he could still turn it on like that Vikings game and that Chargers game." It's like, yeah, any elite
That
athlete
was
can
squeezing the last bit of juice out of the orange,
yeah,
though.
exactly. They can turn it on and just be like, I'm gonna do this. But it's like, you're overusing. It's like a push, it's like a pitcher, trying to get over 100 miles an hour when it's like, no, you should be throwing 98. Like, you can throw 102, but if you do that 50 times, it's probably gonna. Oh, did our stream go off?
Yes, it did. I think I'm just gonna keep my camera off because honestly, I think it's what's
I think
causing
that
it.
was actually me that time.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I think my
All right. Well,
internet had a little hiccup because I saw it on Streamlabs, not
okay.
on Discord.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well,
Again,
I'll give it one more try.
training camp folks, we're working
Yeah.
out the kinks.
This is the
Um,
crowd work, guys. Well, no, Twitter's crowd work,
okay,
but you get the
okay,
point.
give me so being that Justin Fields has been practicing every day, give me like, do you think there's any chance Justin Fields is starting in week 1 or no?
Uh, no, no, I wouldn't say. Like with Mike Tomlin as head coach, no.
Yeah, I
And
don't think so either.
for better or worse, I think, yeah, Russ, I think should start week 1. I mean, he's the one with actual experience being a good quarterback. Justin is still figuring that part out. And we'll see what happens. I'm sure that eventually Justin Fields and his legion of Bears fans will eventually, take over the stadium. Rumblings for Justin every time Russ makes a mistake are going to start happening. And I don't know if it's going to be as bad as the Mitch and Kenny thing because Mitch was just so awful. But we'll see it. And eventually Justin will go in and, when he shits the bed, we'll kind of be left in this what the hell are we doing now mode. I don't know. So I'm
Uh,
a big Kyle Allen fan, our third string quarterback. I'm a big Kyle
yeah.
Allen
Hey,
truther
guys like
now.
that, though you joke about it, but like, I mean, how many times in the last few years have we gotten to our third string quarterback? I don't mind.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna knock them for having like a competent guy back there, and he is experienced. Like, I'm not mad about that. Our one of our OGs, is it sustainable, says, I think Steelers fans will be screaming for Fields by week 4. Dude, I gotta tell you the truth.
That's,
I think they're gonna be
yeah.
screaming for Fields by quarter 2 of game 1. This is
Yeah.
just like it's the like, unless he comes out and lights it up, which the way they play, I don't think that there's any like, I mean, the Steelers haven't lit it up in the first quarter of a game on offense more than two or three times in the last 5 years. I mean,
I don't
all
even
I could
remember the last time it happened.
well, I can't. The Bengals game on Christmas this year, they did. Mason Rudolph came out lighting them up. Remember, they were up like 17-0 or something, 20-0. But that was
Hmm.
with Mason Rudolph, who's not here anymore. So
Ah, man. I don't know. Me, and I know that you're a Mason guy as well. I'm not excluding you from the group here, but myself and Frayne are like two of the bigger Mason truthers that I know that are out there. He he wasn't great, man, but like he was better than any quarterback we've had since 2018.
yeah.
That's a long time.
Well, I don't
And
know
the
if I would say
fact
he was better than 2020 Ben, but you know,
you think so?
no way he was better. Ben was still good in 2020.
Which one was 2020? Is that when his arm fell off
His
after
first
11 and
year
0?
back, his first year back. Yeah.
Yeah, his arm fell off after 11 and 0. I mean, yeah, his that half of a season was really good, but then
Once
the other
again,
half,
what happened that changed that? Hurt his knee against the Cowboys.
yeah,
Wasn't
uh,
elbow. It was the lower body. I always saw that with Ben. He looked like a dog with shoes on. He couldn't run anymore.
oh my God, he looked like he had sand in his cleats every time he ran. It was very
Couldn't move.
fascinating to watch. Do you? God, I remember this. I don't remember what game it was, but I remember this well. I think it was his last year, where he ran. He was trying to get a first down. It was like third down and whatever, and he ran. He looked like he had sand in his cleats. Like you always said, he looked like he ran like a turtle,
Yeah.
and he got like a yard short, half a yard short, and they were just kind of like, oh yeah, they were patting him on the back, whatever. And I don't remember if we won or lost the game, but afterwards they asked him about like how he was that close from the first down, and he's like, looks like I can't do that anymore, and he looked heartbroken.
Yeah.
Do you remember this?
Yeah, he had to learn that stuff in real time. He couldn't move anymore. I remember that big one again. It was against that Raiders game I mentioned earlier. That 2021, that first year he was working in Canada's offense, and he had to like roll out, and he just kind of fell down, and everybody was
Yeah,
kind of like laughing at him. But it was like, he just didn't
he
have.
fell.
His knees were just screwed by that point. He just had taken a lot of injuries. Who knows how many like meniscus tears and stuff he just played with.
And the worst part was that you and I had pumped Ben up going into that season. We didn't really know how bad the damage was, in fairness, folks. But we were pumping him up saying Ben is a great bootleg quarterback going into that year. So
I
that was about
mean,
the worst like bit we could have said at that point.
listen, it's six. This is season 6. We're starting now. It's only fair that we're gonna have some
Yeah.
bad takes, on tape by now.
Yeah.
Um, but the one thing that we'll never have on tape is any of us saying Mitch Trubisky was any good as a Steelers quarterback, because I never said anything of the sort. I remember the first year of him, and like week 4 or I think it was week 2. Uh, and I made a video and I was like, we need to talk about Mitch. And people were like, you're overreacting. Relax. It's been 2 weeks. And I was like, no, this guy sucks, dude. And like, at least Fields, if he plays, or Wilson, at least like there's a chance they could be good. Trubisky, man, God, I just hated whenever he had to play. I hated it. I hated watching him play football. He was just so bad. And I'll never forget that Ravens game where he had to play. I don't know if he started the game or if he came in because Pickett got hurt, every other week.
The
And he
three interception game.
and that was like the worst game I ever saw a veteran quarterback play, like ever. It was just so terrible. He just was lobbing it over the middle. I'm pretty sure Patrick Queen, now Steeler, had a
Yep.
interception in the red zone, if I remember, and was like,
Correct.
what is this, dude? What is this? I remember we just watched that whole game. That was the last time, like, that was like 2 years ago, so I was already, into my 30s or whatever. And that was like the only time in recent memory that I felt like I did when I was like a kid. Like, I remember like just pounding the floor and just being like, God fucking damn it. Because it was just like, I just wanted to pull my hair
Uh,
out of my head because the guy just sucked so bad. And I'm so glad he's gone. Stupid blockhead. I hated that guy.
my alcohol consumption definitely went up
Yeah.
anytime that Mitch was in the game, man. It was hard. It was very, very hard. And it got to the point where I sound like a shitty Fairweather fan now, but I just shut it off when Mitch was in. What the hell was the
Yeah.
point? I think he won. What did Mitch in 2 years? He won 2 games for us.
Yeah,
Two, I think it
I
was
can't even
1, 2.
remember. I know that they
Exactly.
they ended up winning that absurd game in
The
week
Devin
1.
Bush Bucks game.
Yeah, well, that game
Oh,
was great, but they won. Remember that Bengals game, like week 1, that he started, where they went to
yeah, where
overtime.
our offense was like a car that wouldn't start. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. They played like the whole overtime, if I remember. And didn't they both miss field goals in
Yes.
overtime or something? Or the Bengals missed. I think Minka blocked a field goal at the end of regulation to go into
Yep.
overtime. Yeah, like a car that wouldn't start. Yeah, it was this old
Yeah.
jalopy. Yeah. Oh, extra
Dude,
point.
it like I have.
That's what it was.
Yeah, no, no, well, so yeah, here's how that went. But I have compared that game in the past to like in a horror movie when they're trying to escape the killer and they get
The
in the
car.
car and the car doesn't start.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. Because
Yeah.
we had been up, what was it, like 17-3, 23 or something
Yeah, I don't
ridiculous. And we were like,
remember.
holy
Yeah.
shit, look at us go. And then they scored, and then they scored, and then they scored, and it just Mitch wasn't doing anything. It was 3 and out, 3 and out, interception, 3 and out. Drop the snap. I remember he dropped. Did he drop the snap once in that game? And that was a turnover too. Like
Probably.
he's horrific. And if it wasn't for Mitch or for Minka being amazing as always and blocking a field goal, and then yeah, they missed a field goal in OT, and then Chris Boswell doinked a field goal,
Right.
and that's when I was like, this game's on crack because
Yeah.
Boswell just missed.
Yeah.
And then finally, Boz made it the second time. Yeah.
Yes. I remember being like, this is going to be such a long day for me because it was like week 1 and I got a whole extra quarter of shit to talk about. I was like, God damn it. You know, if there's ever a week. Oh, man. Sorry, folks. A little bit of technical difficulties today. We're all over the place. I don't know what's going on with my
Yeah.
internet. Maybe my
Where did
modem
you leave
needs a
off?
restart. I don't know. Bitching about the Steelers. My modem probably needs a restart. You know how things go. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's all good.
I'll
We're
take some of the
rolling out.
blame. I should have reset my modem too. I haven't done
You
one in a
shouldn't have
while.
to. Stuff should just work. It's 2024.
Yeah.
But, hey, once again, training camp. We're working out the kinks, folks. We'll be all right. We'll be up to speed for the regular season. All right. Well,
Anybody in the chat that wants to feel better about their internet, I have DSL. Yes, that
I can't
DSL.
believe I can't believe that you can even still get DSL.
Well, yeah, this is a little bit of an older place that we're renting.
We gotta
It should be getting better soon.
we gotta get you like a 5G hotspot or something. You
Oh
know.
my goodness. That's what we need to start. We're gonna like campaign towards it. Be like, get Gage his hotspot and his Patreon tier.
Hey, it's it's business expense, tax deductible. Um, but yeah, I mean,
He's
hey,
always on business.
we're working out the kinks. It's why don't you give me like we're rounding the corner here, getting ready to wrap up. But why don't you give me like one thing you are excited about for this year, huh?
Damn, you're wrapping us up. It's only been about an hour.
Well,
That's okay,
I
though.
mean,
I get it. I get
it
it.
is what it is.
But you gotta do what you gotta do. But
A
yeah,
little
man, I'm excited
sparring, a
for
little
this year.
sparring to start the season.
A little sparring. That's cool. That's cool. I'm just giving you shit like I always do. But yeah, so I'm excited about what the offense is going to look like, even though it's probably going to be a lot of screen passes. But it's going to be, excuse me, it's going to be a competent NFL offense, which is something we haven't seen
True.
in quite some time here in the Steel City. And also, in the meanwhile, this just doesn't seem correct to me, but it's like I've had it verified. The Steelers had what was it, a top 10 run defense and a top 10 pass defense last year. I don't know how. It felt like we got carved up by every good team we played against last year. You know, the Bungles, the Bills, like everybody. It seemed like they just blew the doors off of us. But then you look at the stat sheet, and apparently we were like one of the best defenses in the league. I don't really understand.
Yeah,
Well, go
what I
ahead.
say about that is, while the Steelers defense I think is pretty good, I do think that part of it is you have to look at what's been required to beat us. And, the Bills are somebody they know they don't need to score 45 points in a regular season game to beat the Steelers, right? And that impacts the offensive game plan because it's like you said before, we force teams into making stupid mistakes and turnovers and all that kind of stuff. And that's why we're so successful against the Ravens and the Browns because we bait them into playing AFC North football and we can win there. But
Yeah.
like the stats I think do end up being misleading because, you know, no one's scared. The Bills come in with Josh Allen against Kenny Pickett and they're not worried. They're not thinking, "Oh, we need to be all on our P's and Q's." They just know like even if we fall behind, we'll stop them. So, I see how that could be
Yeah.
misleading.
And we're also a team that other teams will rest their starters against.
Oof.
Like I just never got over that when Miami rested, what was it, like Jalen Waddle and like one of their key pieces on defense. They're like, yeah, we're playing the Steelers. It doesn't matter, and then they still beat us. So
Yeah, I
I
mean
just don't know where I'm at, man.
the Bills rested Jordan Poyer that one time in a game they needed to
Yeah,
have. Yikes, you know. I'll
yeah,
say
that's
I'll
just.
say what I'm
Oh, go
excited
ahead.
for. I'm excited for a couple things. I'm excited for the progression of Joey Porter Jr. I think people forget how good he was as a rookie at a very difficult position last year. And I think if he can continue to get more technically sound, I think that he has the potential to be a real shutdown cornerback. So I'm excited to see him play. Um, I'm excited for more Minka as always. I'm excited for more TJ Watt. Um, and I'm excited for some under the radar kind of guys too. I think last year as a rookie, people kind of, you know, I think it's easy to forget how good Keanu Benton was in the inside of that line, and I thought he was just phenomenal as a rookie last year. So
Oh yeah.
excited to see him step up this year. I think he's gonna be good. Um, but yeah, I don't know I don't know how to feel about the offense. Somebody in the chat earlier was like, "Oh, how bad is this receiving core besides George Pickens?" And yeah, it's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
The hope is that George Pickens can progress and be good enough to make a difference for everyone. I'm not entirely sure that I'm so sold on that. I know Steelers fans love Pickens, and it's sacrilege for me to question that. I do think he's really talented, but I question his mentality sometimes, and I wonder,
Yep.
if he's the kind of guy. That's the hope anyway. That's the hope anyway. Oh man, our
What's
stream
the
is.
hope?
The hope is that Patrick Wilson or that Patrick Queen solidifies the middle of that defense a little bit this year. I think he's easy to forget as a big signing.
Yeah, I don't know how he went so under the radar, but I mean, we've went from having one of the worst linebacking cores in the league 2 years ago or so. Last year it was okay, it was adequate, middle of the pack or so. But I mean, Cole Holcomb's pretty solid player. We had Quan Alexander, and I can't remember who our third guy was. Oh no, and Landon Roberts, who's an
Yeah, he was really good.
exceptional run
Yeah,
defender.
yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, so then you take that and add another year of experience and communication with the same group and the same coaches, and then you add Patrick Goddamn Queen on top of it. That's pretty impressive. They were able to completely turn their linebacking core around in just a matter of a couple of years, and they've done the same thing to the O line. I love this meme that I see of Omar Khan where it says, "Omar, are you going to take an elite tackle or an elite?" Or what is it? An elite guard or an elite center in this year's draft? And it's Omar with like the meme shades and a blunt hanging out of his mouth, and it says both of them.
yeah. I mean, yeah, there's reason to be optimistic. I think it's just, I think it is like it's the problem with this team when you look at it, and I think when you talk about tempering expectations or not being that excited is like it's the sex appeal positions that are just boring. Like that's the
Yeah.
reality is like the quarterback. I think that's the reason that we forgot about that people forget about the
Right.
Patrick Queen signing and stuff like that is that like they acquired two tremendously like lightning rod quarterbacks with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields and shipped off Kenny Pickett and all that kind of movement at that position just makes you forget about a lot of other things. I mean, like
Everything else.
if you think about national media, like ESPN isn't going to talk about Patrick Queen. They're going to talk about Russell Wilson. They're going to talk about Justin Fields. They're going to talk about Kenny Pickett. So, it just changes the way you perceive everything.
They're
Um,
not going to be talking about Chris Boswell being the greatest kicker in Steelers history. It's a little more interesting to talk about. Is Justin Fields a low key Pro Bowler this year? And it's like, no, not even
yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah. No,
I mean,
I
I guess
mean,
Mitch Trubisky was a Pro Bowler, but same
oh,
difference.
come on. Tyler Huntley was a Pro Bowler. I don't want to hear Pro Bowl. Pro Bowl is the biggest scam. I hate that they even count
I
that
agree.
when they talk about like, like contract stuff or award stuff. It's so ridiculous. It means nothing if
It
everybody,
used to mean something.
kind of, if guys wanted to play, but still, if Mitchell Trubisky was a Pro Bowler, I don't want to hear it. It doesn't matter. It
And kind
doesn't
of the
count.
same thing with the Hall of Fame. I mean, like there are certain guys in the Hall of Fame that you're like, was he really a tier above everybody else? Like Devin Hester. Was he the greatest return man of all time? You're goddamn right he was. Does that mean he was a Hall of Fame player?
I think you and I
Okay.
disagree there. I think Devin Hester was a Hall of Fame player. I,
If
I,
you
I
if you well, here's what I mean. If there was like a special teams wing, is that a thing? Is that a
no,
thing?
no, but what? Why does it have to be? It's not differentiated by offense or defense, really. I mean, I don't know.
I
I
mean,
think
how many kick return touchdowns did Devin Hester have in his career? Like 18, something like
I
that.
don't know
18,
a lot.
20, 25. Like is that enough? Like is 25 plays enough to be a Hall of Fame? I don't know.
But
I
when
don't
you're
know.
that much better than the other people, like I don't know. To me, if you're the best at something, you should be. That's like saying like, oh well, like the best punter doesn't have as much impact on a game as like a mediocre quarterback. And like, yeah, that's probably true, but I don't think you can fault guys for playing positions on the field. You know what I mean?
No, but that's why I like
Like
the
if
idea of a
there's a long
special teams
if there's to
wing.
me if there's like a long snapper who plays fucking 20 years for a team and never misses a game and all this kind of stuff, never has a, snap go over the kicker's head or something, to me, why not? Why is that not a Hall of Famer? If you're the best at a position on the field, then I think you deserve consideration. And to me, Devin Hester, when I watched him, I was like, that's a Hall of Fame player. I don't care what he does any other position. To me, I think he deserves being in the Hall of Fame. I don't know.
I agree. I agree with you with an amendment where I think that there should be like wings for different sections. Like if there like a special teams wing, like if there was a special teams like not a kick returner wing, but if there's a special teams wing, and if in terms of kick returners, and then you put Jacoby Jones, was that his name? I know he just died
Yeah.
recently, but
Yeah,
he
that
was
was
really
out of
good. Or
nowhere.
what was that?
That was out of nowhere.
Yeah, I know, and I know Joe Flacco went to his funeral. It's just really, really sad to hear about. Rest his soul, man. But Jacoby Jones, or who was that other one that other kick returner that just Joshua Cribbs. Like if you wanted to put these guys in like a kick returner special teams wing of the Hall of Fame, that's fine. But if we're talking about like if there's no differentiation, then I don't think that's really a Hall of Fame worthy career.
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
kind of like how there's different wings in the WWE Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? How there's like a modern wing and a celebrity wing. Yeah, okay, it makes a little more sense as to why, you know, Mike Tyson's in the Hall of Fame, but because he's in the celebrity wing.
yeah, but I mean that's an entertainment product. I don't know. It's all made
That's
up
true.
anyway. Everything we do is made up, you know? Like the NFL put in Steve McMichael this year, and it's like it's a really nice story because he has ALS, and like that's beautiful. It was he like a Hall of Fame caliber player? I don't know. I mean I think he probably would have made it sometime in the last 20 years if that was the case, but it's like an emotional story and they wanted to put him in because he's struggling with ALS, and that's beautiful, and I don't think that there's, at the end of the day,
You
does
can
it
shrug your shoulders at it.
does it matter? Like, does it matter?
No,
It
no,
doesn't.
not
It
really.
doesn't really matter.
It's like the NBA Hall of Fame, from what I've heard. I mean, I'm not really an NBA fan, and I know you are, Steve, so you're in a better position to say this than I am. But like from what I've heard, it's basically a Hall of Very Good as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's, I don't know. Every sport handles it differently. I've gone on my soapbox about the MLB Hall of Fame, which I think is just absolutely ridiculous. I don't care what you do off the field to tell me that the person who has the most hits of all time is not in the Hall of Fame and the person who has the most home runs of all time is not in the Hall of Fame and also Alex Rodriguez and Roger Clemens aren't in the Hall of Fame, then I don't know. That undermines to me the entire concept. To me, that undermines the concept way more than putting someone that you think it's debatable they should be in. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's fair.
Like I
Yeah,
think
that's
it's
fair.
I think it's more unforgivable that Barry Bonds isn't a Hall of Famer than the fact that Devin Hester is a Hall of Famer. Is that a fair take?
I would agree with you there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because it's about what you did as a player. Are you going to tell me? I, we're going to see in a couple years. Is Antonio Brown going to make the Hall of Fame?
He should.
He definitely should. Is he gonna? I don't think so.
I would
I
love
don't,
to see him like come out to the Hall of Fame ceremony and then like tear his shirt off like he did in his last game.
that'd be awesome. I hope he makes it, but I don't know if he will. It's gonna be uphill. Was his last year? Did he
With
play?
Brady.
Yeah, was that 21 or 22? I'm trying to remember because that would be funny if he's eligible the same time as Ben.
Oh my god, that needs to happen. I need the humor.
I gotta see if he played in 22 or if he played in 21. I can't remember. I think he might have played a year after. No, he
I
finished
think
in.
you're
No, his last year was 21. So him
yeah.
and Ben will be eligible for the Hall of Fame the same year. That would be awesome. That would be so
That would
good if
be.
they went in together. Could you imagine? Oh my
And they
god.
need to put like they need to play it like they need to have both of them come out to like Celine Dion's "My Heart Will Go On" or
Oh my
something like
god. That'd
that.
be like CM Punk going back to WWE. Oh my god, that would be amazing.
Oh
They're all
man.
hugging it up, waving terrible towels.
It would
Oh
be like
man.
two Vince McMahons simultaneously going back to WWE.
Listen, who's won a Super Bowl more recently? Antonio Brown or the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Antonio Brown. Yeah. We
Oh,
haven't won a Super Bowl since Barack Obama was like a week into his first term as president. It's been
oh
quite
my
some
God.
time.
We haven't won a Super Bowl since I was a teenager, and I'm now 34 years old. Kill me.
How old was I in 2008? I was 11. I was 11 in 2008.
Ugh, God, I was 19. Well,
You're old.
it was in 2009 to be exact, but
Oh yeah. So what I was no, I was still 11.
yeah.
My birthday's in February.
Oh,
Oh no, I'd be 9.
all
Whatever, who
right,
cares?
whatever. It doesn't matter. No one cares. Ben and Brown though going in the Hall of Fame. I'm gonna campaign for that to happen. Is it 5 years? I think right.
Yeah, it's
So it
5
won't be
years.
for
Yep.
2 more years that they're eligible. That's exciting. I can't wait to make that case. That would be so awesome. Um,
We need to have Antonio standing there giving, you know, whatever CT induced rambling we can call a speech these days from him. And then we need to have Ben come out to like Stone Cold Steve Austin's music or something and just interrupt the ceremony and like stun him or something on stage.
yeah, or Le'Veon comes out and they just reenact Hulk Hogan joining the NWO.
Yes. Oh my god, you took the words right out of my mouth.
Now we get to the wrestling part where everybody tunes out because they hate when we talk
I,
about wrestling.
and then Tom Brady cashes in his money in the bank or something.
No, no money in the bank for Tom Brady. Um,
I agree. Fuck Tom Brady.
all right. Well, I think this was a fun little stream to get things started. We'll be back, get into a regular schedule here soon. You can obviously expect the show to continue.
Yep.
Like it does every year. We'll keep grinding, keep making content. Hopefully it's a fun season. Um, I'm excited. I don't know whether I'm excited for the Steelers receiver room or not. I can't say, but I am excited to watch the Pittsburgh Steelers play some football. And I think the first preseason game is coming up on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. So um, maybe we'll talk about that. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
what do you want to let the people know before we get out, Gage?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to make content. I already have a couple of videos in the can that you guys are going to like this year. We have a Steelers pain tier list throughout our recent history. That's going to be a lot of fun. We got some commentaries, we got some games, we got some laughs and a lot of crying to do as Steeler fans, and I can't wait. So, in terms of things I want to plug real quick, you guys can check out my Twitter at Gage Ryan Video, my PayPal at Gage Ryan Video, and if you also are MMA fans out there, I said earlier in the stream, in case you weren't listening, no, I'm pretty much just as big of an MMA fan as I am a football fan. So I have my own MMA channel. It's called Contender MMA. So if you guys want to watch that and you guys like the sarcasm and constant bitching that you find in my videos and the memes and all that, I do the same thing over on Contender MMA. So if you guys like people punching other people in the face, you'll like that channel too. So, and subscribe to our Patreon, because then you'll get Discord access. You'll find where some of my videos get
Yes.
posted, and we'll see what happens.
Patreon.com/5SMU. Please do it. Patreon is a necessary subscription. We kill it in the Discord. We have so much fun. So many of my good friends are here in the chat here on YouTube, but like, it's a good time, man. It's a great way to support the show. $4 or $7 a month. It's not a lot. You'll spend $30 for the whole season, but it keep us going. You get some free stuff. It's worth it. Yeah, but you know the deal. Follow 5 Star Matchup everywhere you can, and stick around because season 6 is premiering real soon. Uh, until next time, I will catch you down the road on the next edition of 5 Star Radio.